Miller Lite Cowboys Hour.
Supported by Albertsons
And
Omni Hotels and Resorts.
brought to you by
Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
now your hosts, Danny Sarek and Brad Sham.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today on the Cowboys Hour, and we appreciate you. I know sometimes it's hard. Everybody had a tough night last night. Players had a tough night. Coaches had a tough night. Fans had a tough night. Promise they did not do it to personally give you a bad Tuesday, I promise. But those things happen. But we are here to look forward and turn the page. Grateful, as always, for all of you who are with us on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Very happy to have you with us on wherever you are streaming this lovely program on DallasCowboys.com. Danny, wave to the people. And here's the other guy who's going to wave to you, Cowboys tight end Blake Jarwin. Look at you sitting up and not using any crutches anymore, huh?
That's right. Back on track.
Thank you for doing this.
All of 2 feet. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Glad to be here. Thank you.
I will tell everyone that when the Cowboys PR executive Joe Trahan and I try to plot out a few weeks ahead who our guests will be, and transparently, I like to alternate offense and defense, throw in some special teams so people don't see all the same thing. Everybody likes everybody. And I also try to look at the schedule. Okay, so if they're playing a night game, especially a night road game, who's going to feel the impact physically a little bit less? And so looking at a Monday night game, I said, well, I know one guy who will feel the impact less from having the game on Monday night. That would be a guy who couldn't play in it because sadly Blake Jarwin is on injured reserve. But we're going to talk first about what is the good news about your injury. So I asked Blake where his crutches were just when he sat down. He said, no more crutches. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm 2 weeks out from surgery just today, and I talked to Dr. Cooper this morning. He said things are really moving good, and I'm in a good place. He critiqued me a little bit on what I need to be doing when I'm walking, and a lot to look forward to. A lot of good progress ahead. A lot of good progress made so far. So, it's a trying time, but I'm staying positive with it.
This will make more sense to you than to probably anybody else. But when Dr. Cooper critiques you, by the way, for people who don't know Dan Cooper, he's truly, literally one of the great surgeons in the country. He's done the surgeries of people in every sport. You know, he did Jalen Smith's surgery when he was still at Notre Dame. He did Kyle Schwarber's. The list is long. But when Dr. Cooper critiques you the way you said it just then, is that like rehab trainer Britt Brown critiquing you at all?
Yeah, absolutely. They're both on the same page at all times,
which means
whether in the same room or not.
They are cracking whips.
Yeah. They're making sure I'm going heel to toe and using my foot the way I need to use my foot and my knee and things like that. So they've definitely been hard on me, but I like that. That kind of gives me some strict lines to follow, and they're going to get me right.
Is it like you're having to relearn how to walk all over again?
Yeah, you got to kind of learn how to trust your knee, and that's what he told me today. He's like, that's the most important thing. You just need to be normal with it. And so that's kind of on my mind now. I'll take a walk later on tonight and just keep pushing that, and hopefully next time I see him, he's like, okay, now let's move on to the next step. So it's all about those mini milestones. I've talked to a few guys with a lot of good advice for me, and that's what they say. You got to keep looking for the little things all the way through the path.
I've never torn a ligament, but a million years ago, I did have a little meniscus issue, a little cartilage issue that needed some work. And did you find that what yours was much more serious, and the surgical procedure is much more advanced? But did you find yourself a little bit afraid of what step you could take, what movement you could make, what it was going to feel like or do to the inside of your knee?
Yeah. I guess I've definitely been more cautious just to make sure that I don't hurt anything, especially as I move away from the crutches right now. And they tell me that as I move forward and I progress, I'm going to start feeling really good. But it's important in those times for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 months not to push myself further than I need to be. I have to understand that I can't do the things that I was doing prior to my injury just yet. And that's going to take time, and time only can heal that kind of stuff. So And a person like me who's always trying to kind of push the envelope physically, it's definitely tough, and they've been holding me back a little bit. I've kind of been trying to move forward, and they're like, look, man, we got a plan for you. Just follow us. We'll get you to where you need to be. So I'm learning a lot of patience with this injury, and that's probably good for me long term.
All right, we're going to talk more about your injury and a few other things in a minute. I just got to ask you about the state of the team right now. It's really hard to watch when there's struggles going on. But you tell me, you've been on teams where things were going well and guys got hurt, and you can imagine that if you're watching that, you're thinking, oh, they don't really need me. Or you watch something like what's going on right now, and you, especially, you knew you were at the centerpiece of the offense. You must be thinking, I could help. If maybe I could help if it wasn't for this. Yeah,
it's with a lot of we're moving into this season with a lot of I was excited for it, I'll say, and things like this happen. I believe everything happens for a reason, and so now my job is just to be positive for my teammates and to be there when they have questions for me, or if they need somebody to be positive with, or just to talk to. When you go through some struggles in a season, you face these adversities. Sometimes you just got to talk it out, and there's two ways to go. You can either go south, or you can get better with it. So that's kind of where I'm taking a position at, being on IR, just being there for my teammates, telling them, look, guys, we're going to get through this. Because I don't think I can sit there and dwell on it and say, look, I could be better. I think Dalton Schultz is doing an excellent job. Him and Blake Bell have stepped up, and I think they look comfortable in the offense. And, man, it's exciting. I get excited to watch those guys out there. And like I said, I think that's my job as an IR guy, is just to be supportive.
On IR, how active are you able to be around, the other tight ends and help them with questions or things you see in the game? How active are you allowed with COVID protocols or just going through recovery?
Right, yeah. I get in every day and make sure I get my COVID test so I can stay around the building, stay around. People see my face, I see their faces. I'm still involved somewhat. Only being 2 weeks out from surgery, I've had a lot of rehab that I've had to do early in the morning where I'm not as mobile as I'd like to be. Here, hopefully in a month or so, I'm moving around pretty good, and I can sit back in those afternoon meetings, but I'm pretty swarmed in the morning with all my rehab. So, but I do what I can. I talk to those guys all the time. I'm talking to Dalton quite a bit, just making sure that, he's handling it well, and he's doing a great job, like I said, and we just kind of bounce ideas off each other and things that I think he can work on and, things that I think he's doing a great job at. So, like I said, I'm just kind of there for the guys when I can be, and hopefully moving forward I can be there more.
Now, you said you like to be around so that people can see your face. If you grow your hair a little longer, then you can wrap it around and no one will be able to see any part of your head. I'm just wondering, how long exactly do you plan on growing that? And that you could have used COVID as an excuse for a while, but I think we might be past that, Blake.
Brad, I've got a haircut appointment for tomorrow at 4 p.m. And I've gone back. My fiance has she's scheduled about 6 of these haircuts for me, and I cancel them every single time because I tell her, I'm like, look, I need to get my haircut. It's getting out of control. And then the day before or the day of, I'm like, I can't go. I'm not ready to give up on it yet. So I'm probably going to cancel that one tomorrow morning and just let it grow. I've never had my hair like this ever, and I guess there's no better time than right now just to let it grow. So we'll probably hold on to it for a little bit longer.
Well, I know that you certainly haven't had it like this for the last several years. So does she like it or she doesn't like it?
She loves it. She loves
does?
It. Yeah. She told me we get married in the end of February. She's like, Blake, you're going to have long hair. So if you want to cut it today, that's fine, but you're going to have long hair when that time comes. So, okay.
Now, does this coaching staff care?
No, they don't. I'll tell you what, Coach Nussmeier gives me a hard time about it, but I think he secretly likes it too.
Well, he's
just a little jealous that he can't grow it out like this.
Nussmeier's totally jealous. There's no question about that. So my next question would be, if she likes it, and you clearly like it if you keep canceling these appointments, and you said you wanted to test the limits or something. What did you just say? You wanted to see where you could go with it?
Yeah, just see how far I can get, before it just really gets on my nerve. I've gone through phases where I'll be sleeping and it's in my face and I'm just like, I can't handle this for another night. I'm not sleeping well. But now I'm past that. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's not that bad. So, but I guarantee you I'll cancel my appointment. I'm going to wake up on Thursday and be like, why didn't I get my hair cut? I needed to cut it off.
I feel your pain there.
I was going to say, you're saying that, and I cannot relate, but Danny's nodding.
Shaking
saying,
my head.
I know exactly what you...
Yes.
So do you wake up with your hair in your face?
Yeah, it's annoying.
It just kind of itches your face sometimes, and it's just like, what is happening? And I mentioned that to my fiance, and she's like, yeah, that's just normal. And I was like, oh my gosh.
You should start braiding your hair. Is it long enough to braid? Sleep in a braid?
Yeah, she tries. I will not let her.
Really?
But she tries. Yeah. No, I'm not there yet. I'm not ready for that kind of stuff.
Now wait. How and where? I'm fascinated with this, and we're not going to talk about Blake's hair for the entire program, but we have him here now. Where, and how would you braid that, Miss?
Just down the back.
Yeah.
To just see.
She's gone down the back and she's kind of gone along the side.
I can't show you because I've got my
sometimes.
headphones on. But yeah, you just take the pieces and it'll just fall down the middle.
Yeah, she's done it once, and I was like, take that out.
Oh, I am just trying to picture you with a long braid down your back.
I would love to see a picture of that.
Maybe one of these days I'll get brave and I'll get a picture of it and I'll send it over to you. We'll see. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, now if you wore a helmet, because we're what are we, a month out from game one? 5 weeks since you got
5 weeks,
hurt?
Yeah, I think so.
So it grows a little bit in 5 weeks. Could you get your helmet on?
So I'll tell you what, I got a new helmet at the beginning of this year, and it's precision fit to my head, and I had it, like the 3D scan around my head. And before this year, I could wear a headband, but it's so precise now that I can't. So I think it would fit. I'd have to be careful with it. I'd probably have to keep it kind of thinned out a little bit because I've got pretty thick hair. But yeah, that was one thing I did notice, that when I switched over my helmets, I was like, man, I'm going to have to... this is kind of a big thing because once you find that perfect fit, it's hard to get away from that. You want it to be like that the whole year. So.
Yeah, I understand, and I understand that Danny can relate to your hair in ways that I can't. But I'm going to tell you from perspective that neither of you can grasp yet. You grow that hair as long as you can, because the day will come when you won't be able to do that anymore.
I know, and that's why I don't know if I cut it. I don't know if I can ever get here again. I don't have the patience for it.
All right. But, Blake Jarwin and his hair are our guests on the Cowboys Hour this evening, and we are delighted, and we are going to talk about what kind of things Blake does in rehab. We're going to talk about Dalton Schultz, who Blake has mentioned several times, and much, much more. We appreciate everyone being with us on the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, brought to you in part by Albertsons. When it comes time to shop for tailgate favorites, go to Albertsons and Tom Thumb. Get 10% off your groceries every Dallas Cowboys game day when you wear your Cowboys jersey. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys, and by Lou Casey, the official bootmaker of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. We'll be right back with Blake Jarwin on the Cowboys Hour.
Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and Omni Hotels and Resorts.
Welcome back. It's the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour. Brad Sham, Danny Sarek, our very special guest, Cowboys rehabilitating tight end Blake Jarwin, who is off the crutches, ladies and gentlemen. And sometimes people wonder what we talk about during commercials, and we were talking about various things. We had just a moment, and Ted Nichols-Payne, our coordinating producer, said down the line, "You've got 10 seconds," and Danny said, "I think I'll stop on the way home and get pumpkins."
This is our second show, and you're quickly learning that sometimes I just have thoughts in my head and they just come out.
Yeah, that's great. I'm very happy for your pumpkins. Why are you going to get pumpkins?
Well, I'm just thinking that Halloween is coming up and I don't have any decorations, so I think some pumpkins would be a good start.
That would be an excellent start. That's logic that's almost impossible to argue with. I'm all for you. And then you contributed what, Mr. Jarwin?
Fighting the battle with my fiance wants a 20-foot Christmas tree, and I told her that is ridiculous, and maybe 14-foot would be more reasonable. So we'll see if I win that battle. I
disagree.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to go over very well for me. But
I think the more the merrier, right? Of the tree, the bigger the better.
She's got the perfect spot for it, but I'm like, I just don't know.
Could we table all conversation about Christmas trees until we at least have Halloween?
Yeah, thank you.
I would like personally a federal law that you can't get into any Christmas decorations until Thanksgiving. But at least can we not talk about Christmas trees before it's even... Danny is looking at me.
Well, I'm gonna say,
those of you on the radio who cannot see this look, holy cow, I think I am now a grease spot.
I'm just going to say don't blame me because I was talking about pumpkins. No offense, Blake.
No, you're
But
good.
I was talking about pumpkins. I was all Halloween.
Well, we were talking about football, and then you were talking about pumpkins.
That's fair.
Yeah, okay, so let's circle all the way back. Let me, just because I'm that kind of guy, take you back to week one in Los Angeles. Actually, let me take you a little further back. Let's go back to signing the contract, the new staff coming in, and Kellen Moore being retained, so you've got the same offensive coordinator. Just what were your hopes and expectations? And it just looked like you were poised for big stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot of excitement. Obviously, with getting the contract done, that meant a lot to me. That they believe in me and they want me to be here for a long time. And then keeping Kellen around and keeping the same offensive style and most of the plays the same was big because I can just continue to build on what I know and become a better football player. And I think I made a lot of headway in camp, and I was headed in the right direction to have a big year. And then things happen. ACL is kind of a tricky deal, and sometimes, obviously, with the non-contact, I kind of fell over, and I kind of knew immediately probably my season was in jeopardy. So, it's one of those deals. I'll grow from it. This is, a growing time for me. I'm going to learn a lot off the field about myself and, just continue.
How weird was that training camp? No OTAs, no spring. Thank you, COVID, and now there's this virtual long distance meetings by Zoom or WebEx or whatever they're using, and now you're in camp. But did it feel like camp or OTAs at the beginning?
Yeah, it's definitely the way we went about it was definitely, weird. But I think it was okay. It obviously takes a little bit of time to kind of get used to it, to get back in the swing of things. Obviously not having OTAs to get in the groove of football. And you kind of get thrown into the building and you get a few weeks to train, and then you're, right into the football mode. So it definitely took about 2 to 3 weeks to kind of transition, I think, as a team and feel that it was that real training camp feel. But we got there. I think we were making good progress. And, right now, obviously, we're going through a tough spot, but I got nothing but, faith in this team. And, it's just a little adversity. Luckily, we're still in a good spot in the division, whichever way you want to look at that. And, all we can do is grow as a team. And I don't think you can let this tear us apart. I think that we gotta stick together.
What do you think's worse right now, the NFC East or the Big 12?
No comment on that.
Couldn't resist. Sorry,
my Pokes are doing pretty good right now. So.
They are. Yeah, they are. Okay. Aren't they leading the league?
They are. Yeah, they haven't played for the last few weeks, but I'm excited. I stay in touch with those guys.
That's one way to stay on top.
That's right.
Don't play.
They're doing a great job.
Going back real quick to you're talking about training camp. How different was this training camp for you? And not because of COVID, but you were the starter. You were, the number one tight end after being behind Jason Witten and not having that the last couple of years. So how was that different for you, knowing that you were the starting tight end throughout training camp?
Yeah, I think that just the reps you get, the real physical reps you get in the game. I was, getting probably 75 to 80% of the first team reps, and just getting that chemistry with Dak and the rest of the team, and getting in the flow of the game. And so it was feeling natural to me. And like I said, I think I was making a lot of headway. But it felt great, and that just comes kind of with getting those reps like that. So like I said, I was poised, I was ready mentally to make an impact, but it just wasn't the time this year. So like I keep talking about, I'll be ready for it next year.
I remember Coach McCarthy saying at some point in the early days of training camp, and we were all still trying to figure out what his handle on offensive football would be. And, of course, Jameis Olawale's opted out this year, but he pretty much said in almost these words that I'm not so worried about keeping a fullback because our tight ends and our fullbacks are interchangeable. And that kind of is like the H-back that was very much in vogue for a long time. Is that something that's comfortable for you? Is that kind of the way you found a lot of Big 12 teams using tight ends as spread offenses came more into vogue?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we're a pretty volatile group. You could align any of us anywhere, and we take a lot of pride in being smart and knowing our jobs on the field no matter where we're lined up. So I think that we were very conscious of that and making sure we were prepared for anything that could have been on the field. So anywhere we can get on the field in 12 personnel, we're excited about. And so we made sure that we were prepared for that. And, Blake Bell and Dalton are doing a great job with that right now. It might be in a little bit different way, but they do a great job when they're both on the field.
In that first game when Dalton took over for you, there were, some struggles with, drop passes and blocking. And since then, he's really improved in every aspect of his game. And you've been very vocal, on Twitter saying, I knew he had it in him.
Well, it was Babe Laufenberg who tweeted when Dalton had was the Atlanta game, I think, right? And he had the big game. I could be wrong about the game, but Dalton had that big game. And Babe Laufenberg tweeted, Dalton Schultz, who knew? And Blake tweeted, I knew. What did you know? How did you know?
I just know how he prepares. And after that first game, like you talked about the drops, I saw him the next morning coming in from the field, and he had just caught like 200 balls on the jug machine, and he was sick to his stomach that he had those plays in the game. So, and I can tell you today, I was leaving and he was headed to the jugs machine. So his preparation week in and week out is phenomenal, and his approach to every day, every practice, every game is incredible. So, it's he's a heck of a player. I love watching him, and just to see him grow in the time that he's had so far over these last 4.5 games, 5.5 games, whatever it is. As a player, and he just looks so comfortable out there now, I think, and he's making some really good plays, and I'm happy for him. I'm going to continue to push him. I think he can be incredible, and I expect that from him as well. That's what we've got in our tight end room. I think we all push each other and create that competitive spirit.
So if he's that kind of receiver, the two of you together, I'm projecting obviously ahead till next year, but the two of you together, that could be pretty intriguing.
Absolutely, yeah, and we've got so many offensive weapons that if we can just continue to build like that, and I just think that we just need to create opportunities. So whether if you want to cover all the receivers, well, the tight ends are there for you. So if you want to cover tight ends, take your pick at receiver. You can throw it to any of them, and that's kind of the goal. And I think that we all understand that in the tight end room. We know our place. We also know we got to put our hand on the ground and block for Zeke and Tony in the backfield as well. So we're just kind of there for where we need to be.
Now, let me ask you something that I would not ever say, tell me what and you, at this point, you don't know because you're not in all the meetings. What are the scheme change? What are they doing? But it only makes sense that when you have two players as exceptional as Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins, and they both go down, and the players available, the best players available, are undrafted free agents. Not that there's anything wrong with undrafted free agents. Sometimes they sign great contracts and become outstanding players and have ginormous Christmas trees and very long hair. But those guys were not expected to fill those roles. They were thrust into really critical places. And the first place a lot of fans go in their head is, well, the tight end's going to just have to stay in and chip all day long now, and you can't play like that all the time. But you have to. Would you just talk a little bit about how all that possibly works in circumstances like these?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. When you talk about bringing another guy into the box, well, then the defense is also going to bring someone else into the box. So that doesn't always, maybe that's not the key. I think we're doing a great, it may not look like it, on Sundays, but we're doing a good job. We're growing. We're getting better. I want people to understand that we're pushing each other. We're improving each week. It may not look like the best product right now, but I guarantee you those guys they're preparing each week like they need to be, and it's gonna get put together, and I'm excited to see it when those guys start clicking. Being undrafted guys, being young guys, it could be difficult at times. You feel the pressure, especially when you're a Dallas Cowboys undrafted free agent, where everybody's eyes are on you, and when we're on TV every weekend, and like I said, it's my job as an IR guy to be positive, to stay with those guys and to keep pushing them in the right direction. Don't let them lose their faith in themselves, because I've had that happen to me where my confidence is shot, and then I'm not where I need to be for weeks and weeks. So, not being an old guy in this league, but being a little bit older than those guys, that's what I've got for them, and just keep pushing them and telling them, hey, look, bad stuff's going to happen, but that's part of football. So we just got to keep moving forward as a team. We need a break, and more coming up with Cowboys tight end Blake Jarwin. Very well said, and I hope they listen to you. And we will be right back with more with Blake.
The Miller Lite Cowboys Hour brought to you in part by Papa John's. Order Papa John's Cowboys Family Special, a large specialty pizza and a large 2-topping pizza for just $24 at papajohns.com. Official pizza of your Dallas Cowboys. Limited time offer prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
Stay right there. We're coming back on the Cowboys Hour with Blake Jarwin after this.
Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and Omni Hotels and Resorts.
Welcome back. It's the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour. Brad Sham and Danny Sarek. It's our regular Monday night spot, except for this week because it's Tuesday. Doesn't it feel odd?
It does feel strange.
Does it feel odd to you, Blake Jarwin, our very special guest tonight, and you didn't even play because you're on injured reserve?
Yeah, it's definitely off, even for me, being an IR guy.
And so what you've been through this schedule upheaval plenty since you've been here. What do you do to adjust? You guys are such creatures of habit because you have to be, and you're on such rhythmic schedules. When it gets disrupted by a Sunday night game or a Thursday game or a Monday night game, how do you adjust?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if we really do adjust. We're always kind of extra on edge for a few days, trying to get back in the groove of things. Obviously today's a day off for the players, so tomorrow will be like a regular Wednesday for the guys, so it'll be back to your normal schedule. But
will your body believe that?
Yeah, no, probably not. I think Dalton told me he got close to 80 plays yesterday, so he's going to be, it's tougher when you come off a short week like that. Those guys, they play hard all game, and it's tough. But, I know the coaches have a good plan for them, and they'll be ready to go by Sunday.
We were talking about these young tackles, and then we'll move on to something else. But you were with Brandon Knight all last year, plus this year, and you were in camp with Terrence Steele. And these are two guys that fans hardly know anything about. What can you tell us about them as players mentally and how they learn and what kind of guys they are and seem to be?
Yeah, they're both quiet individuals. They sit there in meetings, and when they're asked a question, they both answer it, and they answer it, assertively, like they know the answer. So they're young guys. They're learning the way of the NFL. Obviously, Brandon Knight got a little bit last year, and he came in and stepped up big time for us at times. So, those guys, I've got, nothing but belief in them to get the job done. And like I said, sometimes things don't go our way. It's the NFL. The other team's good too. So I can tell you they're growing fast, and it's just part of it. And I'm excited to see them line up next Sunday and prove themselves.
Well, that's also, something that's kind of happening at every position. It almost feels like, right? These young players are not seasoned veterans per se that are having to step in.
Yeah.
And how tough is that overall as a team, especially when you're having struggles like they are, to kind of keep your head up and stay confident in your abilities?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. And I think that it's critical for the older guys right now to stay positive and make sure those guys see that positivity and just put off a little bit of confidence for these young guys. Like I said, I'm only in year 4, and but I understand. I've had a lot of good leaders, a lot of good. I talk to Sean Lee on a daily basis, and he kind of walks me through what I need to do being on IR for an ACL. And it's guys like that have kind of taught me a lot about how to keep the team up, and how as a different, being an IR guy, I can still lead the tight end room and be there for those guys. And I don't talk to the offensive line as much, but when I do, it's just little things to make sure that we're on the same page. And I don't ever want them to feel like I don't believe in those guys, because that doesn't do anything but cause issues for teams. So it's all about chemistry. Like I continue to say, we're going to grow from everything that's happened, and we'll be better for it.
And when you are an IR guy, and we'll talk more about this in a second in a little more detail, but people just tend to think, well, okay, you get your surgery, then you come back and you sit in meetings. And it's not how it works, because you're on a specific physical rehabilitation schedule. And I've had a lot of guys over the years who were on IR say to me that at first you kind of go through this really weird thing where you just don't feel like part of it, because you're not doing all of the things that you do together. Did you experience that a little bit for a minute?
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of just feel lost. You lose your identity, I think, a little bit in the beginning. And like I said, I've had a lot of good people around me kind of walk me through the beginning of this and how it's going to be for the next, 8 months for me moving forward. It's just it can be very difficult, but I think it's important. It's crucial to do your part, to stay as in tune as you can, to like I talked about earlier, showing your face, talking to guys, keeping those relationships alive, so that when you do come back, you don't just feel like you're starting over from scratch. You still have those relationships. You still understand the offense because you're going to meetings and learning from everything. So that's kind of my goal as I move forward.
Yeah, but even when you're you did a really nice job of kind of transitioning that to talk about it the way you intended to. You've learned a lot. Part of my question is, no, you're a starter. You've got a big contract. You got nothing to worry about. You were doing great. You had a great camp. Do you go through a thing where you think, I got to get around there so they don't forget about me?
A little bit. Like I talked about earlier, I'm thankful for the contract, but I don't think you can ever let that kind of get to your head. That's definitely not what got me here. I've had to, work every day, and like what you used to say, secrets in the dirt. And so to not be able to do that, not to be able to physically perform right now, I've got to stay mentally in tune. And I'm sorry I keep running around your question, Brad, but
no, you're doing exactly what you intend to do. That's fine. That's that time you addressed it. Good for you.
And so that's it's definitely a unique feeling though. Being in a position where I'm at right now, never having something this significant keep me away from something I love and the people that I love for so long. So it's difficult at times.
One big change is you now are watching the games from home. Are you seeing the game differently at all now from that?
A little bit, yeah, just a different perspective. I still, before the game, I'll make sure that I'm in tune with the plays of the week, the installation and the call sheet, and just to make sure, when they line up, just to keep me going, I'm trying to think of what they're about to run. What do we run out of this formation and this and that, and what's in for this week. And you just see things from a different angle, and like I said, I'm doing everything I can to make sure I stay in tune with that.
When you're on the field and the play comes in and you have all that running through your head, and then you go line up at your position knowing whether you're going in motion or setting, whatever you're doing, and you look up and you see the coverage, and now you know what the check might be, and when you're sitting on your couch, you can't see all of that stuff. How frustrating is that for a guy who knows what's coming?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult for me because I wish I could have another headset at home just so I could know what's coming up so I could see it even better. But there are, there's pros from it. I see it, in real time, and I see kind of what's going on. And I think, sometimes we get to film and we micromanage. Oh, we could have done that. We could have done this. But from a player's perspective, we're like, well, yeah, it's great. You can see it after the fact. But in the moment, this is what I see. And so I'm just seeing that from another angle, watching the tight ends play.
Now, Blake, if we asked your fiance what it's like to watch your team play sitting next to you on your couch, what would she say?
Yeah, she hears me screaming quite a bit. She's typically trying to keep me calmed down all game long.
You're not a screaming kind of guy. I don't think I've heard you raise your voice in 4 years.
I know it, and I do scream at the TV, though, right now. And, she does a good job keeping me calm, saying, hey, look, it's okay. The next play, I'm like, you're right. Because I think that there's just a little bit extra to it now, especially that I can't be out there with the guys, even on the sideline. So I take my frustrations out on the TV on Sundays, I think.
Sounds like most Cowboys fans, pretty vocal, right? Probably yelling at the TV, good and bad things.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, and then at people they know who might be around the TV. Do you get a little bit of that? People wanting to know what the hell's going on?
Sure.
Yeah, right. I would really, if you pass the word along that next week be a great time to start winning again, that would be good. So your teams have been teams since you've been here that have had, every team in football has to come back from some adversity. How does a player know when I don't want to say a switch is flipped, but because it's not that easy, but you guys usually know, even sometimes in a loss, we found, I'm not saying it happened last night, but sometimes you can tell, okay, I think we found something. And then you take it to the practice field and you confirm that thought, and then things get better. What are your signals that that's going on?
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at games and you say, oh, we won. Oh, we must have played good. And then, oh, we lost. We must have played terribly. Well, that's usually not the case. Usually when you win, you don't play as good as you think you played. When you lose, you don't usually play as bad as you think you pplayed. Last night, obviously, that's not what the outcome we wanted, but, you take a few interesting plays out of there, and maybe it's a whole different ball game. So, and I've talked to quite a few guys today, looking at the film and just already preparing and saying, look, okay, yeah, we need to be better in this area. We need to do this better. We need to do that better. And I think that's kind of got to be your approach each week. Things aren't always going to go your way. I think we got a lot of positive guys on our team that say, okay, let's just take the good and let's move on with it and let's move forward.
You're working with a new tight end coach, Coach Wells, this year. What have you liked from him, his coaching style, and how he's handling, keeping his players confident and taking what they're doing well on the practice field and bringing it into games?
He's definitely a great tight ends coach. Coming from Nussmeier last year, Nuss is a great coach, understands the passing game very well, and then having Coach Wells in this year, understanding the run game and the pass game. He's definitely helped me and the other guys with our footwork and just understanding the game from a tight end perspective from his view. And, he does a great job keeping us motivated. We watch film every day, and he says, hey, look, this is good stuff, guys. What do you think you just did? Oh, that's awesome. And then, if it's not so good, we say, hey, what can you do better to make yourself better? And, I think his ultimate goal is to make us, very versatile athletes on the field who can produce at every position. So he's doing a great job, and he's been awesome in the room.
And even though he's coaching the quarterbacks now, having Nussmeier still in the building, is that helpful to the guys at your position?
Absolutely, yeah. We all have a great relationship with Nuss, and I'm giving him a hard time. He's always giving me a hard time. I think that we've really grown, and to have him still around is big time for us. If I ever have a question and Coach Wells isn't around, I can definitely reach out to Nuss.
Blake Jarwin is our guest on the Cowboys Hour this evening, and we'll be right back in just a moment.
The Miller Lite Cowboys Hour is brought to you in part by Omni Hotels. This fall, do more than just stay a part. Stay a part of the game and stay a part of the Cowboys. Experience football season at Omni Frisco Hotel, the official hotel of the Dallas Cowboys, and enjoy all the dining and entertainment options the Star has to offer.
We'll be right back with Blake Jarwin on the Cowboys Hour.
To the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and Omni Hotels and Resorts.
Welcome back, Brad Sham and Danny Sarek. With our very special guest, Cowboys tight end Blake Jarwin, rehabbing the ACL injury that broke a lot of hearts of Cowboy fans in Week 1, none more than Blake's. I don't we talked about some of the medical stuff, but I don't know that I asked you at the beginning about the prognosis for when you can start doing what. We've established your 2 days off of crutches, so we're a little bit ahead of ourselves. Yeah, absolutely. But what's the prognosis?
Yeah, so right now my biggest focus is to make sure that my extension's good, because if you do not get your extension back pretty quickly, that can cause issues down the road. And then I'm doing pretty well with that, Dr. Cooper said. And then just now learning to walk normally and then to slowly get that motion, that full range of motion back in my knee. It takes some time, but, I'd like to have that done in, about 6 weeks or so back to fully
from
walking
now.
around. No, from 2 weeks ago. So I've got about 4 weeks left, and I'm doing pretty good. So that's just kind of my goal, and they're doing a great job in the training room making sure that I'm on track.
So have they, when you were getting all this medical information at first, did you say, okay, that's great, when am I going to be back on the field? When, will I be ready for OTAs? Will I be ready for strength and conditioning? Did you ask that?
Yeah, I definitely have a few times. They keep telling me to be patient. Britt Brownie's going to do a great job making sure that I'm conditioned and ready to go. Now, when it comes to OTAs, I don't know how much I'll be doing in that sense. Maybe just a little bit, hopefully. But obviously, the goal is to be ready for training camp and ultimately Game 1 of next year. That's my goal right now. And I know that with the ACL, it's tricky. It just takes time. And luckily, I have a little bit of time in front of me. Unfortunately, it happened in Game 1, but that gives me more time, I guess, to heal before Game 1 of next year. And so that's my mindset. I just got to stay positive about it and follow those guys, trust those guys. They know what they're doing, and they'll make sure that I'm back and better than ever.
And parenthetically, please God, there should be OTAs next year.
Man, don't even start on that.
I mean, you got to think that way a little bit. All right, just go ahead. Talk about something else. I just depressed myself.
Blake, I want to go back a few months ago when you signed your new contract, and shortly after you made a generous donation to your alma mater, Oklahoma State University, to help workers who were affected by the loss of sports because of COVID. Why was that important for you to give back to them?
Yeah, Oklahoma State means a lot to me. Just for giving me the opportunity. I don't know if a lot of people know I wasn't a scholarship guy. I was a walk-on guy, and they actually just gave me the opportunity. I was I guess they just needed an extra guy on scout team at the time, and they let me on the squad. And I'm thankful for that, and I'm thankful for Coach Gundy for giving me the chance to be the player that I was, and the man that I am today. And so just to give me those opportunities as a walk-on, I'm very, very thankful, and I want to give back to my school. And so my goal is to continue to give to the Oklahoma State and the athletic program. That was so good to me.
Didn't you establish a scholarship for walk-ons a couple of years ago?
No, I don't know if I haven't ever done anything like that, but I actually was honored to present a walk-on. He was a walk-on. I gave him a scholarship at the beginning.
Oh,
of the
maybe
year.
that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I got to get on a Zoom call and do that for him. So that stuff means a lot. And like I talk about, that school did a lot for me. The reason that I'm here, the people that were there, they built me into what I am, and so I'm very thankful.
So, boy, it makes it sound like a Frankenstein's monster, doesn't it? They built me into what I am.
I'm telling you, I walked in the building at 6'2", 200 pounds, and I walked out around 6'5", 250. So they did a pretty good job.
Well, they didn't get you from 6'2" to 6'5".
I'm wondering how.
You never know. Yeah, hey, they did a good job. I think I'm a late bloomer, and I must have just grown a little bit in college, but they did a good job.
Well, but go ahead, pursue that.
Well, I'm curious if I want to get a little taller.
Well,
3 inches would help me there.
Not taller.
Not taller, no, but just getting bigger and preparing you for this opportunity, and not just physically, but the mental side too of getting stronger as a player, and now going through. You didn't have an injury as severe as your ACL right now, but you even had some injuries there that probably helped you as well prepare for this.
Yeah. I mean, everything that's happened to me has definitely, built me.
Wait, hold on just a second. I have to tell people during not this last break, but the one before. I said to Blake, you didn't really have any serious injuries in college, did you? And what did you say?
I fractured 6 ribs and collapsed my lung. I got hit in the side at Iowa State my junior year. Besides that, I'm pretty injury free.
Yeah, but
Casual.
And I said, yeah, but you can play with that. Take that up, and you can play. You can't play with a knee. It's a whole different, it's a whole different deal. What was that a shock when that happened? Was that a big shock to your system?
Yeah, that was definitely, because that was my first time to ever actually be injured and not be able to participate in the game of football for a few weeks. And I definitely learned a lot from that situation, because with the collapsed lung, you can't do much. You have to pretty much take it easy, and you can't get your heart rate up and get your system firing too soon. You have to kind of let yourself slowly grow, and that comes with time. And so I guess I've kind of understood it from that perspective, that with my knee now, that rushing things isn't going to make things better. It's only going to make them more difficult for me as I move forward. So I've got to trust the process and trust the clock.
You grew up in Tuttle, is that right?
Tuttle, Oklahoma.
Yeah. Did you know all of this much about physiognomy when you were at Tuttle?
Not even a little bit of it. No, not any. So.
Now that you have a little bit more free time, I know you're still rehabbing, you're still working with the team and helping out. Have you picked up any fun new hobbies?
Yes, I have. I actually just went and picked up, before this, I got a bow. I'm going to start, learning how to bow hunt, and I got it all dressed up and ready to rock, and I'm going to start tomorrow, just kind of getting it all sighted in.
How did that start?
I have a few buddies back home, and they do some, I got a buddy, he just got back from elk hunting in Colorado, and another buddy's deer hunting, all the time. And so I've never been big game hunting. I've done, bird hunting and things like that, but I was like, man, I'd really like to get into just learn how to bow hunt, and I've got a little bit extra time, in the evenings now. Definitely, I think it's something that'll it'll kind of clear my head, if that makes sense. Kind of get me out of my zone.
This is the game hunting season right now, isn't it?
Right. Yeah.
So you're going to invest a lot of time and energy and maybe some money in something that hopefully you won't be able to do for another 10 years or so, right?
I picked it up, and he's like, so, what do you think your plans are? I was like, well, hopefully I can play for at least 10 more years. So I don't plan on using this very much. But I do want to learn how to use it, and I think it's it's just something that I've wanted to do for a while, and so I picked it up today.
Work yourself up to wolf hunting with Leighton, right?
I don't know if I'm ready for wolf hunting yet, but if we'll cross that path when the time comes.
All right. So what did you say when you picked up the bow and you did what with it?
You dress it up.
You dress it up. All right. What is it? I don't think that means you put little pants and a sweatshirt on it. What's dressing up a bow?
I wish I knew what everything's called on it. It's got all kinds of different stuff. Yeah, I will. That's my thing right now. I've got to learn all these things before I can even go out and deer hunt or elk hunt or anything like that. But you get the sight on it, and you kind of move everything around to make sure it fits to your body, because that's the best thing about a bow. It's customized to you in a sense, and so I spent about an hour and a half kind of making sure that the sight's on and the peephole's ready, and when I draw it back, that I'm looking down and I'm confident where it's at. And most importantly, you got to make sure you don't slap your elbow, your forearm with the string.
Those things are big and dangerous.
Yeah, they are.
And what's the difference between learning to sight, aim, and shoot accurately with a bow from a rifle?
I learned today that usually when you're shooting with a rifle, let me make sure I get this right. You're shooting left. Well, you move the sight to the right. Well, they said when you're working on a bow, if you're shooting low left, you need to follow. They say follow the arrow, so you have to move the sight to the left. And now we'll put that to the test. I'm sure maybe someone out there when they're listening to this is like, no, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
But that's the whole point. You don't know what you're talking about yet, but you're about to.
Right. That's kind of the goal as I move forward. I'm just going to try to learn, what everything's called first off. So next time you have me on here, I'm going to have it all ready to rock for you.
Looking forward to it.
That's right.
So where do you go hunting? Is that close to here?
I've got my neighbor actually owns land just north into Oklahoma, and he said he's going to take me up there when I'm ready and maybe get me something. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Well, what does when you're ready mean, and who decides that?
He says, dude, I'm going to take you up there tomorrow. I'm like, no, I need to at least learn how to shoot.
We can go. Let's go. I got my truck's right out here.
Let me get sighted in and feel comfortable. I think bow hunting, it's kind of a different art, and when you strike an animal with a bow, you want to make sure you do it the right way, so they're not in a lot of pain for a long amount of time.
I think you probably want to strike them with the arrow,
right?
Not the bow. Actually,
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's details, and I don't know a lot about it, but that might be.
Right. No question.
And are there different kinds of arrows according to the kind of bow that you have?
Yeah, I guess the grain of the arrow is. I think I don't know. I'm not even going to say what mine is because I'm not quite sure yet. But I went to a guy and he customized everything for me and made it proper. And I've got such a long wingspan that mine's. I think I'm set at like a 32 or a 33, which is pretty significant for a bow. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for the journey of that.
And what are the best bows? What kind of wood are the best bows made from?
Mine's actually carbon, and I think
it's not wood. It's not even wood.
No, I learned today that I guess some of them are aluminum, and those can get cold when it's cold outside.
Oh, that's no good.
So the carbon stays actually neutral, and you don't get near as cold. It doesn't run through your body like that. So it's supposedly better. I don't know. We'll see.
Wow, I'm learning a lot. You
and
said
like
you
I
learned
said,
a lot today. I'm learning a lot.
I could just be talking. I'm sure we'll have people critique me on all of this.
No, this is great. And your fiance, will this be a his and her endeavor at some point?
I guarantee you it is. Yeah, she likes to do anything outdoors. She's the biggest fisherman ever. When we go, she's competitive as they come when it comes to stuff like that, and she makes sure by the end of the day that she has caught more fish than me. So I'm sure it's only a matter of time before I have to get her set up with something similar.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
We'll have to see some pictures.
Okay,
Yeah.
So we got like just seconds left, and I don't like to get in your business, but how expensive a proposition are we talking about here with this bow?
Yeah, it's a decent investment. It's not outrageous, but we'll just keep it right there.
Yeah, and I would like to remind everyone that Blake will be becoming a master at this and not doing it again for 10 years. Blake
That's right.
Jarwin, great to be with you. Great to see you. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
For Danny Sarek, I'm Brad Sham. See you next week on the Cowboys Hour.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!